Story 1. Council is looking to build a brand new community center with indoor space for basketball, pickleball, community meetings, and a library. However, they want to place the community center in the heart of the town, on a baseball diamond that many people worked to build about a decade ago. The baseball diamond is hardly ever used and has fallen into some level of disrepair. But the town is upset because of the amount of work that is essentially being overwritten for the new community center. It's particularly upsetting residents as well, because there were trees planted in memory of several well-known people who helped make the baseball diamond a reality. And those trees need to be removed. At this point, factions are forming on the Facebook page and everyone is mad at the other side. I've seen a lot of people I know to be pretty level-headed throwing some serious criticism at people they usually consider friends. It's not as interesting as our last controversy, which involved a local zoo that had lions that kept escaping their enclosure and walking into the streets, but it's the most recent one. Anyway, story 2. Okay, so this is a 10-year-old Bigfoot controversy that has had a recent update over the holiday weekend. In my local town area, there's a wealthy family for our rural area that thinks they're important because they donate to the local police department and have their name on our little medical clinic. This by itself is hotly debated since they're only a few generations in, while so many other families have been here forever. But this is where Bigfoot comes in. 10 years ago, a member of that family wrapped his car around a tree, claiming it was because he saw Bigfoot crossing the road. The real reason was because he was drunk, but the police officer was a buddy of his, so he got off on his ridiculous story he then had to stick to. It was a whole deal over the years with his family adamant that he saw Bigfoot, even to the point of having a Bigfoot hunter come out to find it for the safety of the community. They've been trolled pretty hard about it, including some local high school boys dressing up as Bigfoot to prank them on Halloween. The police officer swears the man wasn't drunk, but he's always drunk, and you'd have to be very drunk to blame Bigfoot instead of a dog or something. Anyway, the latest development is Mr. Bigfoot got a DUI in the county next to ours and apparently tried to blame Bigfoot again. His mom didn't show up to church on Sunday since word got around fast. Story 3. The excitement over getting high-speed internet last summer has been replaced by rage at the subcontractors very regularly, like once a week, cutting people's water lines. Story 4. This lovable dope everyone loved, who worked at the only Dunkin' in town, was rumored to have died. Someone mentioned him in an RIP post in a local Facebook group, and the town collectively mourned until the person in question spoke up and told everyone that he had just moved out of state with family. Story 5. Bird flu was found in the local geese population, of which we have a lot. They had killed hundreds already, but went out to cull another big flock and found them all dead already. Hundreds of them. Story 6. Left 25 years ago, but according to my mom, someone in a brown Chevrolet truck had been putting gifts in rural mailboxes. The gift is hard candy in a Ziploc bag and a rolled-up newsletter warning readers about the growing Jewish problem. Oh, and a woman in her apartment complex keeps trying to give everyone leftover cornbread, but it's too dry. Story 7. My dog's girlfriend just had puppies. She's the dog next door, and every day comes to my back door with a toy. I let my dog out and they play together and swim. Then they come back, have lunch at my place, and nap together. After a couple of hours, they wake up and she goes home. They have a great relationship, which is why I haven't told him the puppies aren't his, and he's neutered. His best friend is the father. My other neighbor's dog also comes to visit, and he actually knocks on the door for my dog to come out and play. Apparently, he's been walking right past our house and having sleepovers with my dog's girlfriend at her place. Now there are 8 puppies that look nothing like my dog. He either doesn't know or doesn't care, and I'm worried he's too young to have 8 stepdogs. Story 8. Someone discovered job listings for a Target in our town. So now everyone thinks a Target is coming. But that rumor has been around for decades. We have 3 Walmarts but no Target. The closest one is 35 minutes away. The person provided screenshots of the job listings. They are seemingly real. A local person with real estate connections says they have been told that they are buying a certain plot. Who knows? We might get a Target. Story 9. 10 years ago, a young man killed his mom, stepdad, and then himself. They said he had mental health issues. Last week, A friend of the young man posted on our town's Facebook page respectfully asking what happened because he had moved away when he was young and had never learned that his friend died. People were awful to the poor kid who asked. They listed all of the great qualities of the mom and stepdad and berated this kid for talking about what a great friend the murderer was in his original post. I still feel bad for how people treated the kid who just asked respectfully what exactly happened. Story 10. Some guy put some dumpsters on his front lawn and is competing with the town-run transfer station. He was also donating any money he made from scrap metal to anyone who would run against the former mayor's campaign. Story 11. Miss Pewter is having a tea party at her place on the weekend and invited everyone on the cul-de-sac except Debbie, because she was picked by the pastor this year to lead the church bake sale. Story 12. Some person is letting their husky run loose constantly, and it keeps killing the neighbor's chickens. Threats are flying in every direction on the town Facebook page. The dog will, unfortunately, probably die because its owner is irresponsible. Story 13. Well, the indigenous people of my economically depressed, former natural resource extraction economy hometown, which is almost everyone, recently received the first installment of back payment for treaty rights denied to them for about 140 years. Every man, woman, and child received $10,000 in December. The hot gossip in town concerns the following: who has spent their money already, who magically has a white boyfriend or girlfriend now that the money has started coming out, who will drink or drug themselves to death with the money, who will crash their new snowmobile first, which businesses in town have inflated their prices to take advantage of the locals who have some money now, who is finally going to leave town and never come back, how much money the businesses who have video lottery terminals are making, and what they will do with that money, who invested or saved their money. How long can you make $10,000 last if you're really responsible? If someone bought something really fancy like a Louis Vuitton purse, how long until it's in the pawn shop? Story 14. There is a couple fighting over a recreational vehicle from the 1990s on the classifieds because they broke up and neither has the title. Who has the best espresso in an area with 3 coffee shops spread out over 60 miles? Things have been shockingly quiet for winter. Normally, that is when all the local gossip gets hot. Story 15. Not a controversy, but my absolute favorite remote northern British Columbia story. Some areas can only communicate via radio and satellite links, so the local radio station gives daily road condition updates in the winter as they are radioed in by community members. One particular long section of a very remote dirt main didn't have any reports come in, so the news and weather guy asked if anyone could chime in on its current state. A minute later, radio crackling. Nothing out here but me and a moose. I've named him Big Ted. For the following at least 3 months I worked out there, oil and gas communications. We got daily reports on the status of Big Ted with every road report. Story 16. Rich guy in my town is taking apart the local government. He hired a lawyer and started asking questions about every rumor and secret that everyone already knows to be true. The elected folks hit him hard, but it didn't make a dent. And now they're scared, resigning, and covering things up. Story 17. A Chinese man has been taking photos of properties from the street over the last few days. A dog ate some sheep, and the farmer wants to have it put down. The family obviously doesn't agree. Story 18. Quiet lately. Last fall, a stoplight was suggested at our worst intersection. It would be our first. This was roundly rejected. We will be putting in a traffic circle. It was contentious. Story 19. Shortly before winter break, a well-liked teacher and coach inadvertently displayed inappropriate messages to students on a projector. The teacher asked students how much they saw. The messages were not to the teacher's spouse. A few students knew who the teacher was sending messages to. The school system is currently looking for a teacher and coach. On the bright side, the teacher is an empty nester and was looking to connect with another empty nester. So it's nothing like that book by Vladimir Nabokov. Story 20. Big news is a lost dog. I think it was finally reunited with its owner today after over a week. So at least there's a happy ending. The second biggest news is that the lake is freezing over for the first time since 2022. The debate is about how far out it's safe to go. In our small neighborhood specifically, The old junk house is finally being torn down. We also got new docks last summer, but everyone hates them, and for some reason, that's still coming up in the middle of winter. As for controversies, I think people are still mad because they think the new firehouse costs too much money. Also, someone keeps posting anonymously on the Lake residents' Facebook page every week or so that they heard a big boom, which leads to 1. People making fun of the original poster for posting anonymously. I don't know what is so egregious about this, but apparently it is the worst thing ever. 2. Heated arguments about fireworks. 3. Arguments over whether the original poster is telling the truth or not. I didn't hear anything. 4. People telling the original poster to go back to the city. If it's who I think it is, she is a lifelong resident of the town of 60+ years. Haha. And 5. Crazy conspiracy theories about what the booms are. Then the post gets deleted, and the booms are not mentioned until a week later when the same situation gets posted again. Story 21. If the Marriott builds as many units on the land it bought as it intends, it will overwhelm the water and sewer capacity of the small Mexican town where I am living. Our water supply will dry up, and our inability to process waste will result in polluted beaches and cholera. Story 22. Our Stewart's is getting a fancy new, improved building. Very exciting. Unfortunately, this means the Subway, one of 2 restaurants in the village and the only one open past lunch, will have to move. This has locals very divided. The location Subway wants has some residents up in arms at the thought of the extra traffic. The new location would be a block away from the current location. Story 23. According to one of the nurses I work with, a woman who shows goats in the area said she was done showing goats and gave her goats away last year. But it appears she is planning to show goats again this year. This is very scandalous. Story 24. A local church volunteered to allow about 15 homeless people to stay there overnight on an emergency basis if the temperature got too low. Residents were not at all happy. They flooded the local city council meetings. One person complained that we spend too much time worrying about the underprivileged and need to worry more about the privileged. Story 25. Someone got their mail from the post office today and were just appalled that it smelled like marijuana in the lobby. They seemed to be trying to convey they thought it was the postal employees because this person has a vendetta, but it's a federal holiday, so they weren't at work today. Story 26. Whether the new Mexican restaurant, which replaced an old Mexican restaurant, is closed temporarily or permanently, and how soon it will be replaced by an even newer Mexican restaurant, even though everyone complains that we already have too many Mexican restaurants, but they will not support anything else. Story 27. Carly in the trailer park is switching her cat to soft food and requests that neighbors not feed the kitty, sparking debates about roaming cats. Story 28. In my small southern Texas, very religious Southern Baptist town, there was a sex scandal involving teachers, church members, and others who were all married, all cheating, and all blaming each other. Apparently, it all blew up last year with much of the gossip spreading due to people trying to blame one woman. So she made sure she got the story out. This town is very small and it is full of liars, cheats, perverts, and criminals. But oh boy, do they praise Jesus. Story 29. Loose pit bulls roaming the neighborhood. Recreational vehicle parked in the driveway ruins the view of the house it's parked in and looks tacky. Someone coughing too loudly while sitting on their own porch. Tattered American flag on the flagpole. Faded mailbox. These were all on Nextdoor the last 3 days. Story 30. How to get on or off the island. The only commercial transportation service to get on or off this island is one specific airline, and that airline halted all flights 5 days ago. Unless you know a captain willing to boat you over on their personal boat to another island to fly on a major air carrier, you're stuck. There are worse places to be stuck, but this is certainly not the first time this has happened, and some people have some pretty dire medical issues that need to be cared for off-island, so this is not so great. The controversy has been for a long time. Why are there no competing transportation services? Additional airlines to serve the island, or inter-island ferries? Story 31. A nearby town has a pretty unfortunate scandal going on with accusing a teacher of misconduct that has been covered up or brushed off for 20 years. Story 32. A city council member got pulled over for suspected DUI and went on Facebook saying it wasn't fair because the prosecutor's girlfriend got pulled over for DUI a few months ago. The prosecutor heard the call on police scanners, showed up, and told the cops there was nothing to see and to go home. Now everyone is arguing about it on Facebook, and the prosecutor went into the comments calling his detractors orange-fingered Cheeto eaters. Story 33. They are revamping an industrial area into a creative district, and there will be a dispensary there. Councilman McManchild is worried that the dispensary may make the town smell like weed. Story 34. My rural Bayou hometown is getting their first roundabout, and the city's Facebook page posted a video on how to properly use it. Everyone is losing their minds. They are also probably getting snow tomorrow, so that's going to be a mess. I no longer live there, but my entire family does, so that's the local scoop.